I'm live.
And I got the BC Preacher finally.
Right on. We are live. I have a like before I even have any watchers.
You said you have a like?
Yeah, I had a like before I had anybody watching. That was weird.
Nice.
Yeah.
So just over here with Villain Phoenix, you can, if you want, you can watch his stream on YouTube. Villain Phoenix, that's on YouTube, his YouTube channel. Black Conservative Preacher here on Facebook. So we just got done doing, what was it, the Trump boat parade?
Yeah, it's a Trump boat parade in Portland. I'm gonna check in with my chat real quick before we get going to make sure my audio visual. How's my audio and my visual guys going?
I'm trying to pin my thing up here.
Hey there, you guys in the chat. Sounds great. Looks great. Thank you. Get fishing.
Chris, Yeet, the Yeet Club. Joe and Tracy, what's up?
All right, guys. We just finished a parade on boats, a boat parade on the Willamette River. I'm having a hard time with my balaclava.
Is that a tongue twister?
Yeah, it's getting in my mouth. I'm trying to talk. We had a boat parade on the Willamette River in Portland. Everybody had their American flags and their Trump flags. It was a Trump boat parade, and that was a pretty good time. We both
on different boats.
Yeah.
Probably about 80 boats. I mean, would you think, or more? Or less?
I think. I was saying at least 36, like 3 dozen, and then the people on that boat were saying around 50 or more.
Okay.
So yeah.
I was up more in between the 50, 100, about 80. But I mean, it was pretty cool to see. I mean, especially when we were like going into Portland, it just seemed like this army just flooding the river and rushing just into Portland because they were going pretty fast. Some of them.
Yeah, it was crazy. We were leading the pack, and so we were. Couple 100 yards in front of everybody else, so it was
so you were creating the waves.
Yeah,
thanks a lot. Appreciate it. I got drenched. Okay, Dylan.
Good. I poured a half a bucket of water on my head. Yeah, but to turn around with the camera and watching a whole fleet of people with American flags and Trump flags and stuff, it was cool. It was kind of like an army was charging into the People's Republic of Portland.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me, just flying. You know, the waves and the wake that I was creating were pretty big wakes. Some waves out there. So
I needed it, man. I had so much fun. There's no stress, no worried about anything out there. Just jumping the waves, going fast, and
until you got back.
Yeah. So
we can talk about. We'll talk about. So what did you experience out there while you was out there?
It's fun. The man that allowed me to come on his boat was Oli. I talked about him in the stream, and his father came from the I think it was Romania. I could be wrong. It was a Slavic region around Russia and that part of the world, and he was dealing with communism. So they had to fight very hard to leave that country and make it to America. So he wrote a book on it. I don't have the book with me. I believe it was Die For. And he gave me a copy of the book and told me a little bit of the story about how his father got out of the communist country and made it to freedom in America, and how much their family appreciates being able to have the freedom that America does offer them.
Right.
So it was a pretty cool story to hear. I can't wait to read the book.
That's interesting. They talk about freedom. They talk about escaping their country and coming to a land of the free, yet so many people complain about America.
Yeah.
Like they don't want government, they don't want nothing to do with America, but yet other people who have actually been in communist type countries, they want to escape and come to a country where there is freedom.
Yeah.
And actually I know back probably about 15 years ago, we were going to the same church for a while. So when I saw him today, I recognized him, So that was cool. As far as what on our boat, it was, so I'll tell you the story, how I found out about this. I was at the gym the other day. I want to say it was, it might have been Thursday or Friday. I was at the gym doing my thing, pumping my iron, trying to get the gains that I don't have yet, but, I'm working on it. They
were making fun of me yesterday for how out of breath I was at the climbing those stairs.
Cardio.
I gotta start hitting the gym, man.
So I was up at the gym and I'm sitting working out, and I look over to my right, and the dude is he's doing rows, and I'm like, okay, he has a red shirt on. I start being nosy, and pretty soon he has this Trump shirt on in the gym.
Yeah.
Of all places, Planet Fitness, because Planet Fitness is supposed to be a judgment-free zone.
Oh yeah.
So he's at Planet Fitness. He has this bright red shirt on, Trump across it, "Make America Great 2020," and So you know me, how we do. I go up and introduce myself to him, start talking to him, and he tells me about the boat rally, and I'm like, I know about a boat rally, that another one that's coming up at the end of the month. I think on the 29th of August, there's another one coming up.
Huh.
And so I knew about that one, and I mentioned that to him. He's like, no, it's the 16th. And he looked at his watch. He's like, yeah, this Sunday. And I was like, all right. So I checked it out, and basically we exchanged numbers. So that's how this came to pass today, is through him. And he told me that his sister was the one who was organizing this event that we did today.
Right on.
And so that's the boat I ended up on. She had his sister Christina. She had a bullhorn. She was out there trying to talk to all the boats, trying to get some order out there. But the bullhorn wasn't too loud. Plus, with everybody's engines, nobody could hear her.
Yeah.
A couple times she did the siren to get people's attention. But at the end of the day, I think there was too many people on this boat, because we brought on a lot of water at times. We even grounded over to the shore, and I had to jump out. I ruined my battery pack that I had on me because it was in my pocket. I was just drenched. I had to step into the Willamette River. My first time actually in Willamette, believe it.
Yeah,
Like, oh gosh.
nobody in the area gets in that river.
I know. No one who lives here in Portland goes in that river, and I'm like dying to get home to shower. But so I mean, it was still a cool event, just watching all the flags and people. And then once we got more into Portland, you saw people off on the shoreline, on the boardwalk downtown, and other places. And of course, we had the great number one fingers by a lot of the people. That's always great, you know, the love that they have, the tolerance.
So you're familiar with concrete reporting?
Yes.
CJ?
Yeah.
So I got one of the guys in my chat says, you missed the shit show. A whole bunch of streamers showed up and more Antifa, but I ain't nobody there for them to yell at, but the cops are still there. So, but before he said that, where'd it go? Gotta look for that. He said, I'm reading his tweet, loser concrete reporting showed up to try and instigate at the boat ramp. So I guess after we left and after everybody left, finally the Antifa reinforcements showed up and started giving the cops a hard time because everybody else was gone already.
Right. Well, I'm having a question, and if you feel like answering it, Ken, says,
all right.
Please, from Lisa, please do not get mad at me. I have a question. I am confused, but did Dylan used to protest, or is that someone else I am thinking of?
Nope. A lot of people think that, and I put out a video after I was attacked on July 12th, and I talked about how the protesters were getting so violent, and everything they were doing was pushing me farther to the right. I was never an Antifa. I was never for the protest, but from day one in the Pacific Northwest, I started out in Portland. I was dressing up in black bloc and going out and watching the protests happen and the riots. I filmed them. Eventually, I started live streaming on Twitch and learning how to do all that kind of stuff. I was never out there to try to arrest people or help cops arrest them and try to capture their crimes. I was just out there to see for myself what was happening and to show other people the truth about what was happening. But I was never part of these protests. I'm not for these protests at all. But these protests have made me even farther against the protests as they go on because of all the violence and the hate and just the victimizing of innocent people and helpless people, elderly people, small people. So to answer your question, no, I was never part of these protests. I've despised them from day one. I don't think they're rational. I think they're part of the communist movement to divide people by class and race and to try to get people to hate each other so that the country can get taken over. But no, I've never been part of these. I've never been for these protests.
Yeah, I mean, you can really tell a lot by race because, I mean, just today, I mean, we show up and the people, because they see a Trump flag, because they see American flag, the first thing out of their mouth is racist. Yet they don't even know that most of the people who organized this event today weren't even, I guess, if you want to say, I don't know, the typical, just, I get put it this way, their complexion was Caucasian looking.
Yeah, the boat crowd?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
people give that such a hard time, but it's just, that's the demographic in the Pacific Northwest. That's
right.
The demographic. I mean, if you went to Sweden, almost everybody doing anything would be white. If you went to Nigeria, almost everybody there would be black, whatever they're doing.
Right.
It's just the demographic. I don't think that's right or wrong.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's
obviously,
right.
Obviously, I have no problem because they invited you onto their boat.
Well, right, and that's the funny thing about it is like that people, all they see is white. They see white complexion and they just go like, white person KKK. They go white person racist. They don't even think about the nationality of their actual race.
Oh yeah.
Like these people
That-
today, I mean, most of them were Russian, Ukrainian, Slovakia type folks.
Yeah, there's a
Most
lot of people that
majority.
point that out, that a lot of people are starting to reject the label of white more and more because of all the hate white people are getting, but also because it's such a diverse category there. Like the Slavic peoples, the Northern European peoples,
Right.
even some of the northern Middle Eastern people are often Caucasian. I think Ethiopians are technically Caucasian from roots in the Caucasus Mountains, but Ethiopian or what's the other country right over? I think it's Ethiopia.
Up top, like just west of
I'm having a brain fart, man.
west of Arab continent. There's your Caribbean, all that.
Yeah,
You have-
up around that area.
around that area. Okay.
Where's the country they had Black Hawk Down from? The movie.
I didn't watch that movie.
Mogadishu is
I didn't
the
watch that
city.
movie.
Anyways,
You're ahead of me.
yeah, they're not. You guys gotta get my back in the chat. So
Help 'em
say,
out, help
say
them
the
out.
country I'm trying to say.
Help us out. We're trying to bring you guys
But
something
anyways,
new and fresh.
But
you
what
know?
we're both saying is that there's a lot of diversity in what we call white people, and there's a lot of different cultures in there. And
Yeah.
one thing that we were both talking about, and I mentioned in my stream earlier, not Somalia, but one thing that I mentioned in my stream earlier, and we were talking about, is that I've never seen a large group of Slavic peoples where the men weren't very, very masculine and the women weren't very, very feminine. It's usually just you can kind of just expect those communities to have those really strict gender roles.
Right.
What do you think about that? I asked one guy, and he said
I love it.
he said it was because they stay away from the drugs, and the men try to work hard with their bodies, and that's what he said.
I think that's a piece of it, and I think because of, I don't know if it's their background, their heritage, or culture, but a lot of them are very grounded in God or religion, so to speak. So I think that could have something to do with it. But so like you said, I think the women are very classy, ladylike. They're meek, and the men they're more of the alpha, the bulldogs, are up front. You're not going to see their women at a front lines at a rally or anything like that. You're going to see the men doing what men do. Where here, you have all sorts of people, especially on the Antifa or Black Bloc side. You have a person who's blind or a person in a wheelchair who's at the front line, which is baffling at times. Women are smart enough to men. They don't allow all that stuff or do all that stuff in their culture.
It's interesting, and the families seem very, very strong in that community usually, and I don't know what to think about all that. It's just something I noticed. I don't have necessarily drawn out conclusions, but you do just see certain patterns in that community that I like. There's just a lot of order, a lot of strong families, and I don't know. I like the culture that I see them expressing.
I do too. I've always, and it's funny because the men are really dominant. So I think their culture is. So a lot of people think, well, Russians have attitudes, but if you really get to know them, they don't really have an attitude. It's like anybody else, breaking the ice, getting to know somebody.
So they're saying that Mogadishu is the capital of Somalia. So I can't remember off the top of my head, but I remember talking to some people from that area. I can't think if it was Ethiopia or Somalia, but some of those people in that area, you wouldn't expect it, but they actually have strong Caucasian roots from the Caucasus Mountains, which is strange. I don't know what to think about that. But Will Troutwine, one of my big donors that helps me out a lot, says he's asking me, where did I get my education? Honestly, I don't have a lot of formal education. I'm neurotic and I'm just curious, so I'm not really formally educated deeply. I do have some, but most of the stuff is just my own searching and reading books and just looking into things that I'm curious about. I'm honestly so let's give the left a reason to troll me. I'm very, very skeptical of our academia today and the universities. I think they've drifted away from the freedom to inquire as to what's true, and they've become indoctrination camps. I remember taking a biology class, and we spent an entire lecture, and the biology teacher went on and spent the entire class period, 2 hours, talking about climate change. And I was pretty angry because any of you that have spent time in college knows that those credits are expensive, and you're spending a lot of money on that kind of stuff, and you've got to learn the things that you're there to learn to go down the path that you're trying to achieve. And so what do you get? Like 11 classes in a term, and they take one of the classes, almost 10% of that class, and just talk about something completely unrelated to the class, and just push their political perspectives and their worldview beliefs. But I had a hard time with a lot of that kind of stuff, and I had a hard time in college. The quashing of curiosity and the quashing of free inquiry. I felt that I got a lot of thought control and shaming for asking certain questions. I was just supposed to learn the canonized answer to certain things, and I wasn't allowed to stray from those. And so, anyways, I do see that higher education is valuable, but I'm very, very skeptical of the academic institutions in America today. I think it's so cliche, and it's going to make me sound like a tinfoil hat, but they're indoctrination camps. They're not centers of inquiry and education and enlightenment and seeking truth. They're indoctrination camps.
Right. Their plan, their goal is just to teach you basically straight out of a book, and basically what they want you to know, and how you think that how they want you basically to be dumb. Just think how they think, and let us set you up for how society is in the way that we think. They don't want you to be a free thinker. They don't want you actually to have the freedom that we should have. Like for me, honestly, growing up in school, I mean, I look at it now, I'm like, man, like some of the things and history lessons I learned, I think were great in comparison to I see what children go through now. You know, there's actually true history things, just learning about the world, learning about the natives, learning about the pilgrims, our forefathers, and things like that. I mean, nowadays they're wanting to get rid of all that stuff. They want to get rid of the forefathers and our founding fathers and all that. And it's really a mess. It's interesting. I went to my daughter's high school last year for a conference, and I walked down the hallway, and there was about 10 doors that were open because they were having conference meetings. Had rainbow flags on them, and I'm thinking to myself, well, why is that happening in our high schools? Like, why are we like telling our children and teaching them that, like, it's okay to be this way, it's okay to be that way, you can do this, and half of them don't even. It is weird. It's strange.
Yeah, and listen, as you can believe whatever you want to believe about the LGBT community, but you can't deny that there are. I'm getting text messages. I don't think they know I'm live right now. Okay. They're just blowing me up right now. It would be hard to disagree with the fact that America is a very diverse place, and there's a very diverse belief system on LGBT issues. Right. There's a lot of religions that are for it, and there's a lot of religions that are against it, and a lot of things in the middle there. And then we have these government institutions that are supposed to be educating our children, and education is we're told was supposed to be reading, writing, and arithmetic, science, those kind of things, empirical things. But why is our government, when it's supposed to be retaining people's rights to believe and think how they want to believe and live their lives how they want to believe, why are they indoctrinating children into belief systems? It doesn't matter if it was some wild, crazy belief about whether it's not healthy to eat macaroni and cheese, and then the government started teaching our children that it's immoral to eat macaroni and cheese ever. Right. It's like, that's not the purpose of that institution. We were led to believe that it was to educate children, and that's how those institutions grew so much, and public school became the standard. And now in most of the country, you can actually get in legal trouble if you try to homeschool your children and take them out of the public school system. But what is our government doing trying to teach that there's one standard way for people to believe about sexual issues when the country is very diverse and believes many different things? I would understand a belief of telling children that it's teaching them the legalities of tolerance in our country, and to allow other people to live their life when they're not hurting you, and to tolerate other belief systems. But when children are being taught that the genderbread diagram, and how all the different beliefs in the LGBT community that don't go along with a lot of other belief systems in America. I'm hot on this. It just
Right,
bothers me
right,
that the schools are indoctrinating them. I don't really care about what the issue is. It could be anything. That
right.
any diverse topic in America, it has no place for our elementary school teachers to be indoctrinating the kids into their beliefs.
Completely agree. I think most of the people probably agree as well on your stream and mine. So I had one person ask me, and I want to get back to just where we were at today, because we're not going to sit out here all day. But one person said, if race is not an issue in America, then why is it on applications? When you go to fill out applications, why is it on app? And to me, I don't know. That used to bother me back in the day. I guess it still does bother me. And I agree. I can agree with that. Like, why does that have to be on an application? Like, why does it matter what nationality someone is? Because a person should get hired for a job, not because of a census or because they have to fit a quota, but because of their work ethic. That's what I believe. Or their behavior, their character. Not because, we have to hire this many black people or that many Hispanic people, that many Asian people. I don't like that myself, and I've never known the answer of, like, why does that have to be on application. I think they should get rid of it personally, myself. But if that's what triggers you, like, if that's really what bothers you, that shows how shallow some people can be.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's like almost like, who cares? Like,
yeah. It annoys me when I see those things.
Yeah.
Recently, I started, when I had to fill things out that asked me that, I just check every box.
I've done that too.
I don't respect the question,
Right.
and when you opt out of that question, sometimes whatever agency is asking you to fill that out, they'll give you a little side eye or it'll give you a little hard time.
Right.
So I check all the boxes, and I never get anybody question me about it. It's just they kind of have to contradict themselves to question me on that,
Just push other.
Yeah, but I think it's two reasons why we see that kind of stuff. From my opinion, I might not be the most informed person on this, but one is that the Civil Rights Equal Race Treatment Act in the 60s wanted to create things like affirmative action, and so in order to follow that plan, they had to find a way to keep tabs on things like that to see if their system they were creating, they believed that they needed to give hiring quotas and that kind of thing.
Right.
So they had to track that. Another thing, I think our country is very divided.
Yeah.
Like, I heard a woman talking on the radio one time about Montana. She was pushing a political vote for some politician, and she was talking about how, at the time, I don't know if it's changed, that in Montana, a 14-year-old girl could go get an abortion without her parents' consent or knowledge.
Yes.
But she couldn't get a tattoo until she was 18.
Right.
And that kind of stuff just shows the disunity. It's just like, anybody to look at that and it's like, that is not logical or cohesive. That's obviously two different groups making two different laws without consulting each other at all.
Right. Right. Yeah. They actually told me and my wife that regarding our daughter in front of us when we went to an appointment, doctor's appointment. Basically, you can do what you want. If you want to say this, you can keep it confidentiality, that type of stuff. And it blew my mind. Like, you're talking about like 14-year-old, 13-year-old, and they don't have to say nothing. They have this confidentiality with the doctors, and it's ridiculous. So.
All right. So I know you said you wanted to get back to the boat topic and discuss the boats more.
My battery, I just got into, I think, my 10% range. It just happened for me, 5% range. So I'm down. So we can wrap this up soon. And obviously, we'll do this again. But today, here in Portland, Oregon, on the Willamette River, we had a Trump boat parade. We started off talking about how great it was. Let's talk about how it ended, and we can wrap this up.
All right.
So, get back to the boat. Actually, you were back before me. Your boat got back before me. I pull up. We're getting out the boat. I see you dealing with some things, and pretty soon, some of the guys I was with are down at the dock speaking to. I see them run up the boat ramp. And then as I'm walking, kind of following them, I hear someone, it might have been you, or someone said, Black Bloc is up top.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, so.
Yeah. They had a little short bus that they had spray painted blacked out colors.
Completely black.
Yep, in full black bloc. They had a bunch of other people in partial black bloc, just black clothes.
Right. And they had a couple. They had a black girl up there and two black guys.
Yeah.
One black guy was questioning everybody, saying, "Hey, well, why don't you guys come downtown tonight? But that's where the real party's at. That's where the real protest is at. Come down there." You know, so basically, their thing again, they want freedom, they want to be allowed every single thing, but yet they don't give that respect to nobody else.
Yeah.
I mean, even if their opinions are different, that's fine. But the whole harassing, showing up, intimidating, like almost wanting to fight, that's what I don't understand. You know, and I mean, I'm sure you saw that as well over there.
Well, there's that grounding principle in Western philosophy of the logos. And it's basically reason and logic and dialogue, and the fact that language and words can be used to seek truth and to learn from each other and come to conclusions and cohesion. And then there's an opposing viewpoint. A lot of people will reference the Hegelian dialectic or postmodern. And there's this idea that there is no truth. There's no absolute truth. And it's all just power games.
More like an agnostic type of viewpoint, type of thing?
It doesn't have to do with religion so much, but obviously religion would not be held by those that don't believe in absolute truth, because part of the understanding of what God or a God is the logos and meaning and absolute truth and understanding. But all that being said, the far left communist types don't believe that there is an absolute truth. That's why they say all cultures are equal. Every country is just as valid as another country. There's no you can't tell somebody that you understand something that it's more true than them. That's why you have the people saying like, well, I'm a black woman. You don't know my life, so you can't talk about this. Only I can talk about this.
Right.
Or I'm a white, gay, transgender man. You can't talk about that because you haven't lived my exact same period. So they can't draw upon a common universal truth to dialogue with.
Right.
But then it's deeper than that. They think that dialogue is just a Western concept, and it's a dominating fascist idea, and it's just a trick used to control people. So when they fight for free speech, they are just trying to gain power. They're using whatever tool they can to gain power. For them, everything is a power control game.
Yep.
And they think that that's what the right is doing as well. Or they think that's what people that are following the Western philosophy tradition of logos is doing. They think that we're just being manipulative and trying to control people. And so in that belief system, they will do anything necessary, by any means necessary, to gain power, because they believe that power is the only thing that is actually real. And so you can't have a dialogue because it's just, to them, it's just meaningless chatter, and whoever's dominant wins.
Yep.
But the Western tradition, the value of God, the I would say the foundation of Christianity, in Romans it talks about in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word became flesh, and it's talking about Jesus, and it's this idea that Jesus is the embodiment of the logos, and whatever your religious views are on that, I haven't come to believe that Jesus is actually a literal historical figure, but I do believe the philosophy and the wisdom within that character are true. And I think what we're seeing and what communists is and what the far left movement is a rejection of absolute truth, the rejection of logos, the rejection of dialogue, the rejection of basically any, I've said it again, truth. And it's just a power play. So that's why they're trying to gain everything by force.
Right.
That's why they chant when people are trying to have discussion, and they scream when people are trying to have a discussion, because they're just trying to gain control by power, and they don't care about what's ultimately true.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And a lot of their chants have to do with a lot of satanic rituals, just chanting over and over, and it's the same stuff that they chant. So, and a lot of their stuff is based off fear tactics to scare, and that's where they think they're winning at. But with that said, so that we kind of experienced that, I hate to cut this short. I got like 2% left.
Battery's about to die?
It's about to die. So plug where the people can donate or help you out. Go ahead and say that so your folks can hear and people who are watching here.
Okay, I'm Villain Phoenix. I've been going live mostly on YouTube lately. I'm still experimenting on different platforms. You can find me on Twitter at Villain_Phoenix, at Villain_Phoenix on Twitter. And then on Facebook, I'm The Villain Report. If you want to support me, you can find me easiest on Cash App. I won't plug everything right now. If you go to my platforms, you can see my platforms. Oh, he died there. He's out.
I'm
so
out.
for this,
transfer over to Villain. Continue.
So I'm gonna give Black Preacher the same thing. Why don't you shout out to my audience, let them know who you are.
So right now, I just do Facebook, my live streams, the Black Conservative Preacher. That's on Facebook. PayPal me, the BC Preacher. Cash App, the BC Preacher. Venmo, the BC Preacher. And today, finally, thanks to Villain and Common Sense Conservative, finally started a Twitter, which is the BC Preacher. And I'm working on the YouTube channel, which will be the Black Conservative Preacher. So that's it for me.
Yeah, he tries to pretend he's older than he is, so he's trying to act like he's a grandpa, and he's been really reluctant to learn how to use Twitter. I've been telling him, like, Twitter is the easiest thing in the world to use, but...
I'm lost on it.
Yeah.
So, hey,
Yeah.
it's all good. You're going to help me, though, right?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
I've been helping you. All right, we'll close down. I'm going to say a couple words to my chat and close it up. It's Scott Henderson in the chat again with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much for your support, Scott. I really appreciate it. You are beyond generous, and keep seeing you here. Thank you so much. So that was the end of that. We just wanted to have a discussion. I think we're going to do more of these on different topics and just bounce ideas off each other, and maybe there's my moo-hoo ha ha ha. That's my slogan now. So you guys, Steve Freight Brokers got the Yeet Yeet. Portland Andy's got the Elk Nados and the Hot Dog Crew. My slogan's gonna be the horned purple face emoji, the devil emoji, and the pirate flag, and then the moo-hoo ha ha ha. MU H-A moo-hoo ha ha ha. That's the Villain slogan. But thank you guys so much. We're going to keep having these kind of discussions, and I hope that you understand that we're trying to discuss and learn, and not always trying to just preach. Like sometimes we're just bouncing our ideas off of each other to share the information floating around in our heads, so we can correct it and change it and find truth and hear what the other person has to say. And I hope to God you guys don't take me as some guru and just take what I'm saying as gospel, because it's not. I am trying to figure this all out, and there's a lot of things that I've come to believe that are true, but still basically have no clue what I'm doing waking up as a human on this earth. So thank you guys for being in the chat. We're going to get out of here. Moo-ha-ha-ha. All right, you guys. Villain Report out. Thank you for chiming in. I love all the moo-hoo-ha-has and blowing up my chat with them. Yes. Moo-hoo-ha-ha-ha.